This training is for learning curators who are curating channels on GitLab Learn. This training is going to go over some additional steps that you can take as a learning curator to organize content on the channels that you are curating. Previously, I thought that this was a thing that only admins could do, but I've recently discovered that actually curators are able to do this, which is really great because it gives you a lot more freedom and opportunity to edit your channel without relying on me or the rest of the learning and development team. So I'm actually going to use Josh's question here in an issue as like the driver for this example. So Josh is creating a channel that is for individual contributors who are transitioning to managers. And he wants to know, how do you add smart cards in the channel to specific tabs up on the top? For example, I'd like to add the transitioning to a manager smart card to the challenges of transitioning to a manager tab. So I'm going to go through this as an example. If you go into, let me back up right to the beginning so you can see all the steps. So I've navigated to this channel that Josh is talking about. And what he wants to do is he wants to add a card to this carousel, challenges of transitioning to a manager. When you're on the channel, you can see the carousels that are up here at the top. There's a few different carousels that are like automatic on every channel that I actually suggest you shut off because I don't think that they provide a very specific user experience. However, if you think that they're fitting for your users, you're welcome to leave them. But those standard ones are smart cards, pathways, usually journeys is on here as well, and then courses. And so if you scroll down, you can see that right now, Josh has shared this smart card to the channel and it's showing up in the smart cards carousel, but he wants it to show up in this custom carousel. So I'm going to show you how you can build custom carousels and add cards to those custom carousels. So in order to do this, if you are a curator of the channel, you'll go to this edit button and it will bring you to the channel settings. You can see the title, the description. There's 3 of us that are collaborators. And there's 3 of us that are curators. So I'm going to go into advanced settings and I'm going to scroll down to the content categories section. So the content categories are the carousels that are on the page. They're the way that we display the smart cards in different groups and categories to organize learning for people who are visiting the channel. Smart cards, pathways, journeys, streams, and courses are the ones that come like built in with every channel. Everything else from there is custom. You can enable and disable them using these check marks. If they're enabled and the check mark is orange, that carousel will show up at the top of your channel and it will display on the channel anything that's shared. And if it's disabled, it's not going to show up. My best practice and suggestion is to disable all 5 of these. Otherwise, you get a kind of jumbled display of content. So for example, if I had the smart cards enabled, every smart card that I share to the channel is going to show up in this smart cards section. But I could be sharing smart cards to the channel that are of like 10 different learning topics. So it's kind of like not very organized and not very clear what section or what kind of learning users would see in that smart card channel or carousel. So I like to shut it off. Josh has already made a bunch of custom carousels for this page, which is awesome. And I'm going to show you how you do that. So he's made getting started and welcome, a bunch of different ones. Say I wanted to do one more, and for now I'm just going to call it test. I would add the name of the carousel that I want to add to the channel and then click the add button. And you see it shows up at the bottom. It's automatically disabled when you add it. So in order to get it to show up on the page, you need to enable it. If you ever want to edit the name of a carousel, you're going to use this little pencil button, and then you can rename the carousel. When you click out of it, it will save. I'm going to delete this for now. So Josh's question is, he has a smart card, and let me remind myself of the name, transitioning to a manager. And he wants to share the transitioning to a manager smart card on the challenges of transitioning to a manager carousel. So in order to add that smart card to the challenges of transitioning to a manager custom carousel, I'm going to navigate into this edit pencil over here. So this small pencil will just edit the name. This edit pencil is going to actually edit the carousel. If I click into here, I have the option to search and select card. So I'm going to drop this down, and the card that he's shared is called transitioning to a manager. And so if I start to type it in, it should pop up. It's important to note that you can only do this for cards or pathways or journeys, LinkedIn Learning courses that you've already shared to the channel. So the first step in being able to customize the content that's on the channel is you have to share that content to the channel, which we go over in a different training. So I see that this is the card that's been shared. So I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to click Add Card. This card has now been added to this channel, this carousel. So I'm going to hit Close. I'm going to hit Update Channel, which is important because that's going to save all the changes you just made. And now when I come back to the actual channel, I can see that the challenges of transitioning to a manager carousel is showing up here, and the transitioning to a manager smart card is showing up in that carousel. You can also see that those carousels that were here before that said smart cards and pathways and courses are all gone because I've disabled them. If you scroll through, you can see here all of the different carousels that Josh has already added. But since he hasn't shared any other content to the channel, or he hasn't added any more smart cards to these carousels, right now they're showing up as empty. So if I click on the challenges of transitioning to a manager, I can see this one that we've shared. But if I click on skills of managing at GitLab, there's no content that's been shared there. This is a really great strategy and a way to really customize content that's on your channel. I want to show a few different examples of how other teams are already doing this at GitLab in a few different ways. So the GitLab Marketing Learning Hub, there's a few different ways that they've been using these carousels on their channel. They have a Getting Started carousel that shares a welcome video and some important links for feedback and to the handbook. Then they have a carousel that includes all of the badges that they have offered for their marketing team. And then they have an other resources section with a few more important handbook resources. So they've organized their carousels based on content type, right? We have some introduction content, some badge journey content, and then some just additional resources. In comparison, if we look at the product management channel, they've organized their carousels by skill. So if I come into this channel, I can see there's some handbook resources in the first carousel, then resources that are related to opportunity canvases, user research, customer interviewing, jobs to be done, lean product development, etc. So instead of organizing theirs by content type, they've organized it by skill. And in each skill, you can see there's different resource links, handbook links, videos. It's all different kinds of content types within each skill. Let me see if there's maybe one more example I can show you. Skill of the Month is another channel that the L&D team manages. And these are organized also by skill for each month that we have a specific skill. And then in those skill carousels, we have different courses from LinkedIn, from GitLab, from handbook pages, from articles, all different kinds of resources. And you can see that each carousel is organized by the skill, and then that content is shared to those specific carousels. You can see that the smart cards and journeys and pathways built in carousels are removed. It really does improve the user experience if you go that way.